for joining us. Sumit Chandra, the EC is not backing down as far as the provisions for electoral rolls, SIR and similar such exercises are concerned. They've made it very clear to the court that they actually don't need to give the list of those names that have been deleted.
See, we need to understand the provisions which talk about the deletion or the addition. If anybody has a problem with the deletion or addition of the list or any form of the electoral list, you have a right to file an objection to the same. Now, that objection can be filed under Section 13 of the rules, the registration of electoral rules in 1960. Now, the interesting thing here is the registration of electoral rules 1960, Rule 21A talks specifically about the deletion of names, and 21A subrule A talks about prepare the election commission shall prepare a list of the names and giving these details. So after that, if anyone after considering has any verbal or written objections, that may be preferred. It will be decided by the election commission. But yes, to prepare a list, to hand over the list, there is no specific rule for that. But of course, during that period when the objections are to be raised, for that, a list is prepared. The Electoral Commission, the Election Commission decides those objections whenever the objections are so raised.
Ashutosh is Ashutosh. And Sumit, this is, we've been discussing this for the last 1 month or so since the SIR had started. This has become a case of whether in this special case, this deserves some special intervention by the Supreme Court, because people can argue that SIRs have happened in the past 20 years ago, even in the state like Bihar, and the education levels, the poverty levels would have been much worse than they are today. So why is it that today the SIR deserves a special intervention, but all of these years when it was conducted earlier, it was okay?
Shivani, first of all, what my learned friend Ashutosh clearly said, and he mentioned Article 324 of the Constitution. Now, what that article also mentions in the Constitution is that the Election Commission will have the complete superintendent's direction and control on the preparation of the electoral rolls for the conduct of all elections. So once the Constitution of India gives that power and authority to the Election Commission, it's part of one of the three pillars of the Constitution. And to what extent will now the court interfere is again for the Supreme Court to decide. But so far as the Constitution of India is concerned, the law is very well settled that Election Commission is a constitutional body, separate and independent, and has complete superintendence and direction and control over the preparation of the electoral list. Of course, the Election Commission rules also, the rules of 1960 clearly specify that if anybody has a problem or an objection to the list, the voters list, the concerned voter can come. The political parties who participate in the elections are given a copy of that list.
Yeah.
If there is any objection, they can have those. I mean, just to say that just because somebody is not properly equipped or educated or learned enough to move an objection, it is for the political parties to assist them to file these objections. But there is a limitation to file these objections. There is a time period prescribed. File an objection before the Election Commission. It's about 30 days, and to file a writ petition to the under the Election Commission, an election petition to the court, it's 45 days. So there are time limit prescribed. You cannot come up after a very, very long time beyond the time period prescribed and then say, yes, what the election list was prepared about a year or 2 years back is now I am challenging and raising an objection to that.
Yes. And Sumit, the other strand of this entire story is what is playing out vis-a-vis Maharashtra earlier and now the Karnataka voter rolls. Rahul Gandhi has done that famous press conference now and presentation where he said that over 1 lakh votes are fraudulent voters added into the Karnataka voter list for Madhevpura constituency alone. There also a legal battle a back and forth is going on. The EC is saying you need to come and give us an affidavit, take an oath that this is what you have found. These are the fraud voters, only then we can move forward. Do you think the EC is being stubborn in this case? They should take a suo moto cognizance of what Rahul Gandhi is saying and then just look into it?
Shivani, it's very interesting here. The reason why an affidavit is being asked for, of course, there is a mandate under the Rule 13 of the rules, the election rules, that an proper application form along with the declaration by way of an affidavit needs to be filed. But another way to look at it is also why that declaration or an affidavit is required and why it is being insisted. It is being insisted because Rule 31 further of the Representation of People's Act clearly mentions that in case somebody files a false declaration, he will be punishable up to imprisonment up to 1 year. So, I mean, you cannot just make general claims. If you're filing it with a declaration, you're taking the responsibility of the same. And if there is a responsibility of the same and later out that declaration turns out to be false, you will be liable for an imprisonment up to 1 year. So possibly that is the reason why the Election Commission is now insisting that at least file an affidavit or a declaration with respect to your objections on the list.
Ashutosh,